What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. What's up? Anyways, I found this really cool article. No, I can't take credit for it, but it's super cool. I think it's super interesting and it's pretty exciting, and it kind of goes to show you something pretty important, and that is maybe sacrificing some of the wants that you believe you need for long-term gain. Now let me explain. There's a little known company called Apple. I talk about them a lot. Yes, no surprise. I'm a supporter of the company. They're my largest holding, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, this article talks about how much money you would have if you never bought their products and instead bought their stock. Pretty interesting concept. I've heard about stuff like this before and stuff, but this article was pretty good. It was easy, quick, straight to the point, so I really liked it. And we're going to talk about it. Some of these numbers are absolutely crazy. It's obviously starts off pretty normal and then it gets astronomical. So like some of these numbers I'm pretty sure are going to literally knock your socks off. If you're not wearing socks, then they're going to knock something else off. I don't know. But let's get into this article. So this article is called "This is How Rich You'd Be If You Bought Apple Stock Instead of Its Products." This is by a guy named Yaron Yitzhak. I'm probably saying that wrong, and I'm sorry to Yaron. Anyways, let's just get right into this. So right out the gate, the first one is an iPad. So it says here, when the iPad was released on April 3rd, 2010, the entry model was $499. If you use that money to buy Apple stock instead, you'd have $3,000 right now. That's around a 500% profit. Moving on to the first iPhone. The first iPhone came out on June 29, 2007. Again, it cost $499. If you bought Apple stock instead, you'd be sitting on $5,700. To put it another way, that's around a 1,000% profit. Next, moving on to the first MacBook. The humble MacBook. If you bought the base model on its May 16, 2006 release, it would have set you back $1,099. If instead you used that money to buy Apple stock, you'd have $22,500 worth of it right now. That's around a 2,000% profit. I'm feeling sick. Moving on to the first Mac Mini. Alright, the first Mac Mini was released on January 22nd, 2005 at the base price of $499. They really like that price. If you bought Apple stock at that moment instead, you'd have $19,700 sitting around. In other words, a 3,900% profit. The first iPod. I had one of these. It was awesome. Ah yeah, the iPod. The entry-level model, which came out on October 23rd, 2001. God, I'm old. That's how I feel right about now. When it was released, it cost $399. The amount of Apple stock at the iPod's release would now be worth $58,000. That's around a 14,500% increase in profit. Look, I love the iPod as much as anyone, but that's a whole lot of moolah. And he is damn right. $58,000 from a $399 investment. All right, well, let's keep moving on. I can't feel too bad because it's not like I would have bought stocks at, that age, so it doesn't matter. Moving on to the first Imac. Now, I fondly remember this computer because I had one in elementary school in computer class. Not necessarily me, but I got to use this. This was the first computer I used outside of the computer I had at home, and it was much better than the computer I had at home, so I really liked it. And it says if you didn't buy the original base model of the iMac on August 15, 1998, its release date, if you haven't got that, for $12.99, and instead use that money to buy Apple stock, you'd have $178,000. And you know what? That's a 13,500% profit. Now the first Macintosh. Okay, this is obviously well before my time. Finally, the first Macintosh. When this was released on January 24th, 1984, the base model cost $24.95. That's a lot of money for a computer, even nowadays. You know how much the imaginary Apple stock you bought that day instead of a Macintosh is worth now? A cool $960,000. Yes, that computer, if you bought it, could have basically cost you $1 million. That one and all is a 38,500% increase in profit. Now, he does say a pretty good line at the end that I like, so I'll read it here. It says, "Still, there's a lesson in here somewhere. It's never a bad idea to seriously think about the things you're buying or investing in, as there might always be a wise or more lucrative alternative, if you can predict the future, that is. At least we achieved the impossible here today. we put a price on cherished memories. With all that said and done, that's obviously crazy. Now, the only thing that you should really take away from this is, well, you should take away a few things. The first thing you should take away is this goes to show you that you don't need like $100 million to make money in the stock market, okay? You can literally invest $399 in the right stock at the right time, and it can turn into $58,000. Now, to me, that's no chump change. $58,000 is probably what most people make in a year, probably even above what most people make in a year. I think that's pretty good for the price of an iPod. Now, obviously, not too many people probably had $2,500 to spend on a computer back then, but if you had $2,500 and you put into Apple stock, you'd be a millionaire. And by the way, this is not counting dividends. I did a little bit of math on that, and if you had bought Apple stock at the price he calculated, which was about 42 cents at the time, and you got all the shares, which is about 4,800 shares, give or take, the dividends you'd be sitting on per year right now is $15,000 in dividends. And that's just this year. On all the dividends alone, you'd probably make another $100,000 if you had bought the stock instead of the Macintosh that time. But it just goes to show that even something like a little decision can cost you a lot of money. And the second thing that I want to reinforce is that although it may seem like a good idea to go buy the latest computer, this or that, you have to think that that could actually be costing you much more than whatever the sticker price says. If the brand new iPhone is costing you well over $1,000 a year, maybe that $1,000 a year should probably go into investing, and maybe you should, hold off and stick with whatever model phone you have, or buy a couple years older model. I don't ever like to spend money on stuff like that because I think it's a waste of money. And the more money you waste, the less money you have to invest. That's just how I look at it. Some people choose not to look at it like that, and then they wonder why they have no money to invest. Well, it's because you spent it all. Unfortunately, it's true. So at the end of the day, keep in mind that no matter how much money you have, always do your research in stocks. If you pick a good stock, your chances of making money are pretty high, and you can make a lot more money than probably whatever that item is going to give you worth. So if instead of buying a new phone, if you had used an older phone and took that money and invested it, the later you might really be thanking you, as that may be one of the greatest decisions you make in your life. Okay? So just keep that in mind because this is pretty crazy. I'm going to do this video for other things. I'm going to do my own research. Don't worry, I'm not going to piggyback off everybody. But I'm going to look into this. Maybe I'll do one about cars or something instead of buying a car. If you were to buy this, how much of a difference of money that is. I think that'd be pretty cool and pretty insightful onto the things that we buy without really thinking of that are actually costing us a lot of money. It's kind of, some of those numbers are pretty crazy. It's kind of crazy that even an iPad that was $500 is now worth like $3,000 technically. If you invested into Apple stock, that was I get 9 years ago. It's a pretty good increase, I would say. Not to mention that iPad today is not worth $500. A Gen 1 iPad goes for like $100 on eBay. So was it a good investment? I don't know. It is a pretty cool device. iPads are awesome, so maybe I can't hate on that. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, always remember to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on that bell notification to always stay notified on all the latest and greatest videos that I post. Until next time, though, have an amazing, beautiful, life-changing, one-of-a-kind day, and I'll see you next time.